Hello, I'm Dr. Homer Ferguson, the Organist Choirmaster of Emmanuel Episcopal Church in Southern Pines, North Carolina. This is our fifth installment of our virtual organ tour inside the C.B. Fisk Opus 145 pipe organ. In this video, I am examining with you the pedal division of this pipe organ. This is the smallest division of the organ. However, it is probably the most important in many ways. First, it provides that undergirding, the base of the harmonic structure of the sound that is created through the other manuals. It creates a depth of tone. It is the division of the organ that people feel. It has the lowest notes, the gravitas that is the pipe organ. So, we'll examine the individual stops and see how this division is laid out across this pipe organ. When Opus 145 arrived, the pedal division was the first to be installed. This division is located primarily along the back wall of the organ case. It is, however, spread out onto two main wind chests. A wind chest that operates the pedal borden, and then of course you find it in the facade. Here on the left-hand side you see the C wind chest. Notes of the pedal that are found over here are C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. Then, turning to the right, you see the C sharp wind chest. And over here are the pipes for C sharp, D sharp, F, G, A, and B. The pedal division begins with the principal 16-foot. From FF, it appears in the facade. These front pipes are made of heavy, hammered 98.5% pure lead, the same alloy used for the pipes of the great open diapason. The lowest five pipes of the 16-foot pedal principal are located here against the back wall of the organ. Right here is low C. This is also the largest organ pipe in this instrument, constructed of solid wood. Next to it is D, then E is next to it. Over here on the other wind chest is C sharp and D sharp. The scaling of this rank begins very large at CC, but it's graded to a more modern scale by tenor C. The reason for this is to help the largest pipes of the 16-foot octave overcome the sanctuary's less than ideal bass response. This lowest pipe, CC, seen here, begins here and travels 16 feet in length up the back wall. You can see it continue on through the ladder. Why don't we have a view of it from above? And here we are at the top of the pipe, which the top of this pipe is next to the swell division. And as I pan down, you can see how far down this pipe really goes. Here I am standing next to the lowest pipe, that's low CC, of the 16-foot pedal principal. It's massive and it's made of solid wood. If I wrap my arms around it, you can get a sense of how big it is. You've heard of tree huggers, right? Well, I guess I'm a pipe hugger. Anyway, this was the very first pipe that went into this pipe organ. And on the back are hundreds of signatures of parishioners who contributed to the commissioning of this organ, signatures of those who helped carry in the many pipes and parts, signatures of the children of Episcopal Day School who were witness to the installation of this organ. I can just see a few signatures behind here, and my hand is actually on a signature dated December 6, 2015 by Joanne and Kirby Kilpatrick. Someday in the very distant future, 100 years or more, when they're doing a restoration of this organ, they'll remove this pipe and they will see the cloud of witnesses inscribed in pen, in marker, in pencil on the back of this organ pipe. Low C, D, and E reside on this side of the pedal wind chest system. I thought just a close-up of the mouth here, the lowest part of the 16-foot pedal principle, would give you just a little sense of the grandeur and beauty and incredible detail that goes into making these very low pipes. You can see some of the joinery work here. You can also see this beautiful tapered edge, solid poplar construction. I'm going to now play low C, low D, and low E for you from the console. The technology of the modern iPhone is a wonder, but I'm not entirely sure how well it will capture the sounds of these very low pipes. I recommend headphones for your listening pleasure. Similarly, on the C sharp chest, here is low C sharp and low D sharp. Starting at low FF, the pipes of the 16-foot principle are found here in the facade or in the side pedal towers. Low FF is this center pipe right here in the central tower. Other pipes here are found in the left and right side towers. There are 3 in each facade and then 3 behind these facade pipes that you cannot see. There are 16-foot pedal principal pipes here in these 2 flats. And then these 2 pipes here and these 2 pipes here are the 4 lowest notes of the 8-foot open diapason of the grate. I will play chromatically starting from F of the 16-foot principle so that you can hear all of the facade pipes that are part of that stop. An important voice in the organ. This principle sets the tone for the pedal division. It is voiced to provide an appropriate underpinning to many registrations on the manuals in the mezzo-dynamic range. Being an open stop, it exhibits a breadth and gravity of tone that signals to the listener the scope and substance of Opus 145's tonal palette. The 16-foot principle has a wonderful cello-like quality, or a violon. There's a stringiness to it. You can almost hear the bow coming across the strings. Let me give you an example of the 16-foot principle by itself so that you can hear this quality. I will accompany on the 8-foot violin diapason. The 16-foot pedal board and its extension, the 8-foot gedect, are found here. The lowest 20 notes of the 16-foot pedal board are actually borrowed from the stop of the same name in the Great Division. They're found here. Low C is actually back in that corner, and then C sharp is back in this corner, and they alternate. And then the rest of those 20 pipes are found here along the back wall. From tenor G sharp, the pedal board becomes its own independent stop, and those pipes can be found here, and likewise in the wooden pipes on this C chest, and they extend through the 8-foot gedect. The 16-foot pedal board and the 8-foot gedect are the soft accompanying voices in the pedal. They're beautiful, but they also have lots of fundamental to them. They're exceedingly useful and create this soft foundation to much of what we do here on the organ. The 16-foot board and the 8-foot gedect are perhaps the most used stops on the pedal division. They're the softest, but they also have lots of foundational tone. They have a beautiful bass quality that just undergirds all kinds of textural material. It can be soft, it can be even louder. The gedect by itself is actually very beautiful as a solo stop. The 16-foot board, of course, has this wonderful bass quality. If I put them together, and they're often used together as a 16-foot and 8-foot combination, they sound like this by themselves. Here's the rest of the piece, or should I say, here are the other parts. The hammered lead principal 8 and the octave 4 are mainstays of the pedal division and serve a similar purpose here as do the open diapason and octave stops on the grate. Here in the pedal, though, the octave is an extension of the principal. The hammered lead bodies of the principal begin at C with a slight 5 to 6 taper, but they are then graded to cylindrical by tenor C, which equates to C of the octave. The tapering in the 8-foot bass range helps the pipes speak promptly, and it's important for playing certain repertoire, including the Bach trio sonatas where a responsive pedal line is essential. The octave 4 combines well with the principal 16 and 8, and it also serves well as a cantus voice in German Baroque literature. The 8-foot principal on the pedal has a very similar role to the 8-foot open diapason on the grate. Let me give you an example so that you can hear its clarity and speech characteristic. add the 4-foot octave to this combination. Finally, I will add the 16-foot principal and the 16-foot border so that you can feel the depth of the bass added to the 8-foot principal and 4-foot octave. The 4-foot octave is also very useful for soloing out a chorale melody or hymn tune or a melodic line in the pedal board. The 16-foot trombone and the 8-foot trumpet comprise the reeds of the pedal division. As in some of the flue-stop pairings, the trumpet is a mechanical extension of the trombone. The full-length conical resonators of this rank are scaled after the Posaune stops of 18th century Central German master organ builder Gottfried Silbermann. These are married to shallots modeled after those that Arp Schnitger used in his 1698 organ in Laurentiuskirche in North Germany. That is a cylindrical brass with heavy lead plates against which the brass reed beats. The resulting tone is both weighty and foundational and provides bass range balance to the great principal chorus and to other forte combinations on the manuals. The trumpet, by itself, makes for a fitting 8-foot pedal cantus in music ranging from Buxtehude to Brahms. Here is the 8-foot trumpet by itself. You can hear how extremely responsive it is. The 16-foot trombone has this wonderful weight to it. It has foundation as well. Here it is in a chromatic scale. Let me play it just by itself in this example. Then I'll add the 8-foot trumpet as well in the middle of the example. The 32-foot resultant stop on the pedal division is a way for us to create 32-foot sound, or very low sound, kind of almost getting into the lowest range of human hearing. You feel it more than hear it, without the cost of building the 12 32-foot extension pipes that would be necessary, the lowest of which would be 32 feet in length, or some version of that, perhaps Haskelled. So when I pull this stop at tenor C, this is actually low C of the Borden. But when I move below tenor C, what happens next is this. Two pipes are playing together at once, a fifth apart. Have a listen. So that is low C of the 32-foot resultant. And what happens there is that C and that G are the second and third harmonics of the 32-foot overtone series. So it manufactures, by its nature, a 32-foot tone. When you have that combined with the Borden, say the gedeckt, maybe even the principal 16, you can really start to feel that rumble. And that's what it's really all about. Here's the trombone with it. It's the stop on the pedal division that you feel more than actually hear the individual pitches. It's the full pedal that makes so much organ music exciting. This is one of my favorite places inside the organ case of Opus 145. I'm seated between the two wind chests of the pedal division. Behind me is the ladder that extends up into the great division and all the way to the swell division at the top of the organ case. I can look towards that wall and I see the enclosure where the bellows is located. The organ builders sealed it up in 2016 when they finished installing the instrument. To my right, I can look over there and I can see the coupler stack. I can see the mechanical action that operates the great division of the organ. But right here is one of my favorite pieces, because this is the plaque with the names of the 28 men and women who lovingly crafted this amazing instrument. These are the artisans who have dedicated their lives to bringing art and music and beauty into this world. I cannot thank them enough for their craft, their skill, and what they do to better this world that we live in. As I sit here in this instrument, it's alive, it's breathing. You can even hear the wind. And I know that this instrument will continue for centuries, quite frankly, giving music to the world, leading congregation in song, accompanying choirs and soloists, and exciting young boys and girls as they discover the pipe organ and hopefully fall in love with it and maybe learn to play the organ. I want to thank all of the donors and the supporters who made this instrument here in Southern Pines a reality. Without you, this never would have happened. And for that, I am forever in your debt. If you're ever in the area, or if you are here in this area, please never be afraid to inquire about the instrument. I love to take people inside and give them a personal tour. If you play the organ, come. The console is always open. The switch is underneath the right stop jamb. Turn it on and make some music. Thank you for joining us on this 5-part video series detailing Opus 145, giving you an in-depth look at the individual divisions of the organ, its action, and how it all works together for the glory of God. Thank you.